New Mexico's film and television production incentives are tied to the use of locally based crew members, and industry insiders see even more production starting here soon. So, how will the state meet the potential demand for local crew? And will there be more opportunities for people who want to get into fields like screenwriting and directing? Correspondent Megan Kermerick continues our film focus with two instructors from Central New Mexico Community College and the University of New Mexico.
I'm joined today by Matthew McDuffie. He's professor of practice in screenwriting at the University of New Mexico Film and Digital Arts program. And Jim, or Grub, Grabner, runs the film technician training program at Central New Mexico Community College. So since the move by Netflix to open a production hub here and the passage of the film legislation this year that raised the annual cap on incentives, a lot of economic development officials have been promising more jobs in New Mexico. How are your colleges and programs responding to that?
Well, immediately they want to put new classes, extra sections, or more people coming in, because once the word went out, everybody thought, okay, there will be jobs if I go to school and train for it. So yeah, we immediately bulked up with more classes. But then we added some new courses. I met with Nick Manatas, who is the Netflix previous film director, but he's a Netflix representative in New Mexico.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
He is. Okay.
Nick is here to help build a training program. So I met with him at the Q Studio and said, okay, this is our idea of what the new classes should be. And so it's kind of early stages of what they need as far as crew goes, but we've been doing it for 15 years, so it's not hard to figure out where we adjust.
Matt, what about UNM?
Well, we've shifted a lot to above the line, so we now have a directing program.
And
we've always had
the above the line is versus
above
crew.
above the line is everybody. It's a producer, a writer, and a director.
Okay.
So we're focusing largely on that and art departments. So we've kind of shifted over. We had a department called IFDM. Now we are Film and Digital Arts. And so we're focusing on the writing, the directing, and the producing of features. And even this summer, we're shooting our own television show. So it's interesting just in terms of the focus, because people say Netflix. And I was talking to the former Dean of Fine Arts, Jim Linnell, and he was like, so Matt, Netflix. And I'm like, yeah, Netflix, that's great. If you want to work below the line, that's great. And he said, no, it's gonna bring a lot of attention to the state, to us, because people are gonna realize that we have a studio here. So it was like, well, we better really address this in terms of the creative aspects. I know that they're not moving a production office here, but they're certainly going to be looking at us. Students are, and the community is, in terms of us producing material. So we've shifted over into making stuff up.
Things have shifted a lot in the industry over the last 15 years, and 15 years ago, the Netflix model wasn't even a thing. Yeah. So how are your programs adapting?
Remember those?
Yeah. DVD, that's right. How are your programs adapting to those kind of rapid shifts?
Well, actually, we've been ready all along.
Yeah.
It's incremental.
Okay.
Netflix coming in is no different than having Breaking Bad running for 5 seasons and having to supply the crew for that show. But Netflix coming in means that they'll bring more guaranteed shows. Instead of us having to shuffle out there and try to win a show to come in. Netflix guarantees so many shows. It means we'll have a steady employment so that people we train, we can say, okay, there will be steady employment for foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything to add?
Well, no, and it's not, Netflix certainly owns the studio out there, but they're renting it out to NBC and Paramount and all sorts of other production companies. So that thing is going to be filled for the next 10 years easily.
So, Grub, what are your students learning when they go through the CNM training program? When are you learning to be a film
Yeah, because we
technician?
had different programs.
Okay, yeah.
We have a master's and everything. But like the training program is specifically for below the line, which you mentioned above the line. Below the line is everybody who works on a movie who isn't a producer, director, actor, or a writer. And so below the line is actually mostly a union position. They get paid by the hour. And when they go, they show up for so many days, work 12, 14 hours, gets lots of money. There's a very good pay grade for below the line work on a movie. So we're talking gaffers, grips, electricians, camera people, all those people who crew the movie. Usually your average movie, our television show has 125 to 150 people in the crew working on it. Now with the new incentives that are wooing the movies to New Mexico, which is why Netflix is here anyway, is that if you take advantage of our tax breaks, which are 25% on movies, 30% on TV shows. If you take advantage of those tax breaks, you have to hire 60% and in some cases 80% of your crew from New Mexico, or else you do not get the tax break. And so that means it's employment for us, and we have to train that many people to work in those positions. So if you got 125 people and about 100 of them have to come from New Mexico, you have to have a big program to train in all these areas, and that's what we do.
Do you have an idea, so out of all those who enter and go into the industry, like how many stay in the industry?
Well, the industry, unlike a lot of Republicans have touted in the past, is very rigorous and it's hard work. So to stay in the industry, you have to have good stamina because the hours are long and it's really hard work. Yeah. So it happens with the students who come through, we have a good proportion going into the union, and most movies over 2 million, which is most of the movies shot here, have to be union shoots, and they'll go into the union, and I'd say the people who have the stamina, half the people will end up working in the movie industry.
And are the skills transferable even if they don't stay in the industry?
I think hard work is transferable,
Yeah, well,
isn't it? Yeah, it's circus work.
A lot of the
It's like
people,
being a carny in a
a lot of people we get come from other industries like Intel. We get electricians from Intel who end up working on movies. Of course, they're good in electric. We get EMTs who become medics. So a lot of transferable skills.
Okay.
But we even teach gaming and special effects and things like that. We have students who have gone on to Industrial Light and Magic, who have worked in editing, shops. So it's this change is going to be huge for CNM and for UNM in terms of the whole community that we're trying to create. And I think we're finally sort of moving together in terms of your people working with our people, in terms of us having material that you people can be gappers, grips, and best boys, and we can actually make something. So it's a more practical sort of experience for both sides.
There's lots of different career paths.
Well, yeah, I mean, even we have what's called a capstone, which is like a thesis project for our filmmakers, and there were, how many were there? 12 or 13 films that were made just this last year coming out of the department, which is a lot of work, a lot of crews, and the notion of getting CNM to be working with us, and it's just going to be marvelous for filmmakers.
Yeah, I mean,
here.
the difference is going to be how much time you want to spend before you get your job.
Yeah.
So when you're doing below the line, the training is quicker. We can train you within a year to get into the union. If you're doing a 4-year program above the line, because it takes a lot more skill and education to create these shows that actually people want to see. But for crew training, we don't need that much time. So it's more expedited, and we turn over a lot more people quicker that way.
So Matt, some of these disciplines like acting, set design, screenwriting, in the film and TV industry, much of this work is not done in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Even though the productions are coming here. They may use local crew, they're incentivized to use local crew, but they often bring in these folks, other folks. You're training from outside, so how will the graduates break into those fields?
The goal for us is to become an Atlanta or a Vancouver, BC, in that we're creating material here. That the Netflixes of the world cannot ignore what we're creating. Our goal is to create filmmakers, a complete protein of people that can physically make it, but also the people that can create it. So we're looking to create producers and directors and writers in particular, which I think is our strength.
The money to back that is not in New Mexico.
Well, I think it can be. I mean, in terms of a lower budget thing that let me just talk about what we're doing this summer. We're doing something called The Show, where we're going to create our own episode of a short form television show, and so we'll be bringing in crews, we'll be writing and directing it. If we can use that as a fundraising device and keep it generating, then we can get crews coming in, we can get people even from the theater department in terms of, because they have a dramatic writing program, writers and our directors, and we'll have a show every semester that I think can really sort of add to the whole. There
was some legislation that didn't get incorporated this time in this last session that had money allotted to doing independent productions, and it never got passed. Okay. And so the money's gone for that. So the money is really, they're concentrating on educating a workforce.
So you can get this training to be in a crew, you're ready to go, but what other skills do you need to be successful?
Well, basic skills of stamina, like I mentioned,
Right.
hard work, and you have to be very alert, and you have to. It's a group activity. People forget, even with writers and editors.
No, we don't forget.
Yeah, and
hand
editors
it on to
nowadays
somebody
end up
else,
on
yeah.
set, so it's you have to be able to work as a group. I've had
And
really.
work with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had very intelligent students, but they couldn't work with people. They couldn't make it in the business. So no matter how intelligent or adept they were, if they couldn't really get along, work with people, understand hierarchy, how to make things done, respond to the challenges as a group, not as an individual, they didn't make it.
I don't think there's any more collaborative art form or business than filmmaking.
So you have to have really good networking skills.
You do have to have
That's 'cause
people
that seems-
skills.
Excellent networking
Yeah,
skills.
Because
it's like-
filmmakers tend to use
Right.
the people they're comfortable with.
That's true. But I mean, you have to be able to live with other people, because if you don't get along with your gaffer and your grip, it's going to affect the movie. So it's about relationships.
And the union, people forget, union is not a hiring hall. Yahtzee 480, not a hiring hall. Basically, once you get into the union, you have to network to be able to work with somebody who will get you a job.
So, Grub, they made an announcement earlier this year. The city had an announcement with CNM. They're going to be doing basically an extension of what you guys are doing already in the rail yards. Do we know more about what that's going to look like?
Well, it's in a developmental process, and since the mayor was waiting on money from the legislature and they're working together, it's laborious and slow and glacial, but it's going to happen. And what they announced was there were going to be a studio for training people in a little larger aspect than what's at UNM or CNM, and so they're going to have a bigger space, more equivalent to what's at Q Studios, so that we can have catwalks and cranes and everything, a larger studio to make people more professional.
Right.
This is, I should say, the Albuquerque Rail Yards.
This is Albuquerque Rail Yards, yeah, which used to be run by the Q Studios. Now it's given over to the city.
Right. That said, we have Mesa del Sol out on Mesa del Sol, which has, has full theaters and flex spaces.
The UNM facility.
Right,
there,
right,
next
which is
to Q Studios.
it's right across the street from Netflix.
Things are moving very quickly in film and television. When the state launched its incentives, as I said, the models that are coming out weren't even a thing. How do you see going forward?
Yeah, you have to remember that New Mexico was the first state
Yeah, it was
to
15 years ago.
have a tax break, first state to have a film office. So when it comes to incentives, we were the first, and now how many states have incentives?
I know, yeah.
40 plus.
So how can you be sure going forward to pivot to stay in touch with what the industry needs for students? Who knows what model will come up in
I mean,
5 years.
I think William Goldman said it best, which is nobody knows anything. And it's kind of true. How you sort of figure out what the zeitgeist is or what Hollywood is going to be next year. I mean, nobody thought Netflix. People thought that's idiotic. And they're spending all this money and they still don't know how they're making money. But for us to be there, in the ground and having a relationship with Nick Manatas, with Netflix, with I think that's the way. It's a relationship thing that we have to create now and understand that. Even before we're ready for it, I think Albuquerque and New Mexico is going to become a mecca. I think because of things that are happening in Georgia right now, and even
Georgia is an interesting thing because in discussing how we should do our education here, we looked at the Georgia Film Academy, which ironically was basically started by two former instructors from New Mexico who took their expertise to Georgia, and now the Georgia Film Academy unifies all the colleges in Georgia to come with a training program that they all agree to and has a similar curriculum, and then they pay people to start working on their movies. So one of the things we looked at and we talked to Nick Manatas about was, should we copy the Georgia Film Academy model since it was engendered by New Mexicans? And so he says, no, I think we should do our own specific version of what we want to do because we have to make it available for our people. When you look at the demographic of New Mexicans, we're not a demographic of engineers, we're a demographic of visual artists. We've been known, from Georgia O'Keeffe to, Crown Point rugs. I mean, so we are visual artists. So what you want to really concentrate on is that art department skill that we have endemic to our own culture. So training will have to reflect that.
Well, we have to end at this point, but I'm sure there's going to be more to talk about in the future. So thanks for coming on and discussing, and I'm sure we'll have you back as this evolves.
As it evolves rapidly.
Yeah.
Rocketing on to the future.
And we can
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.